Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is just a voice note to explain further what we've been discussing. Um, what is the ruling on a Muslim congratulating the non-Muslims on account of their festivals, which are related to a religious belief, right? So Christmas, Diwali, Vaisakhi, and all these other things. Is it permissible for the Muslim to, to greet them in this? Now, what we can see here in this fatwa that this person has posted, um, it's not just Abdullah Bayya. Abdullah Bayya is one of their scholars. They call him Imam Allama, etc. It's not just him. There's scholars in Azhar University. There's scholars from Jordan. I believe the Mufti of Jordan as well, if I'm not mistaken, and other, scholars from different viewpoints from around the world. Now, it's very important for us to understand now, as Salafis, it's very counterproductive if we were to attack them and discredit them, and not have a decent dialogue with good manners. Yes, the Salaf were very harsh with Ahlul Bid'ah, as we see them as Ahlul Bid'ah. But as the ulama have said, like Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah and others, they have said this shiddah and this strictness and this firmness with Ahlul Bid'ah has to have a maslahah behind it. So we can look at these fatwas and say they are wrong, they are from Ahlul Bid'ah, and la 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 la. But that's going to be counterproductive. What's going to happen is that they're going to say, look, you Salafis are strict and you Salafis are, not living in the day and age that we're living in. We're going to follow this way. And it's very unfortunate. And even just yesterday, somebody showed me a picture of a Muslim pantomime. A Muslim pantomime. I think they called it Cinderella or something like that. And they changed the name to make it sound Islamic. And they've got all these Muslims, etc., doing pantomime. Where does this come from? This comes from them looking at something. They might look at the Salafi view and they say, no, these are too strict. We can't live according to Orthodox Islam in the 21st century in the West. Let's look somewhere else. And then they'll find someone saying, yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. Go ahead and do it. Why would they not take the Orthodox view? Perhaps there is a breakdown in the way that it is being presented to them. This is very important. So now we've got this person, Abdullah Bayya, and these other people who are saying that you can congratulate the Eid of the Kuffar. You as a Salafi now in the West, 21st century, have two possible reactions. Either you refute them, dismiss them, and have harshness towards them, or you say, listen, let's have a discussion about this. Let's talk about this. Let's bring some akhlaq, let's bring some ilm, let's bring some usul for the sake of Allah. And let's see what the actual representation from the madhahib actually is on this view. Because what this person has done, he said from all four of the madhahib, one way or another, he is saying that it is mubah or makruh to initiate greetings on account of their festivals of the kuffar. But looking further now, as Ibn al-Qayyim has mentioned, and in the article or the fatwa that he's got, he quotes Ibn al-Qayyim and he says Ibn al-Qayyim maybe have got it wrong. I don't want to misquote him, but he's basically saying that Ibn al-Qayyim's understanding is not correct. Now, he quotes some of the scholars from the Hanafi madhab. He quotes some of the scholars from the Hanbali madhab, the Maliki and the Shafi'i. And looking at the statement that he has used, if you look at it in its entirety, in its full context, you will see that what they mean by tahniyah of the kuffar is meaning greeting them in issues which are not related to the religion. So in this fatwa, he says Imam Ahmad has three views or three possible scenarios in greeting the kuffar: haram, makruh, and mubah. So he says, look, mubah, you can. But there are three different scenarios. So you can't just take the last one and apply that to the first one, which is haram. And this is why they misunderstood what Ibn al-Qayyim is saying. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said that there is no disagreement between the ulama that congratulating the kuffar on account of their a'yad, on their Eid, is not permissible. He says that the Hanafis have said that it is makruh tahrimi within the full context, meaning makruh that it is haram, but he's trying to say makruh which is disliked. Again, the context here is that if the Hanafis are extremely harsh on this, if you were to aid them with anything when it comes to festivals. This is a form of approval, and a form of approval of kufr is kufr. Well known in their madhab. Imam Malik didn't find this as an action of the people of Medina, but he is trying to say makruh here is disliked. And the list can go on when it comes to the quotations from the books of the fiqhi madahib. The point that I'm trying to make here, and trying to make it as concise as possible now, even though it's been 5 minutes, which is that what the person is saying here, I feel, is not the full context. And when you find a statement where the ulama from the madhahib, yes, it is there that you are allowed to congratulate them, the kuffar, this is talking about something which is not connected to the religion, such as getting a new job, such as having a child, such as getting a new car, anything which makes them happy, you congratulate them in. Because you see now here, this is a very important point, just in case there are non-Muslims listening to this. Us not congratulating the kuffar, and this being the religious view in Orthodox Islam, doesn't necessarily mean that we hate them, that we are harsh towards them, and we can't live with them, and we don't show them compassion and mercy. And from something that has come out from this discussion is that the ulama have said that you are allowed to greet them as long as it is not something connected to their religion. So if a non-Muslim says to you, Merry Christmas, if a non-Muslim says to you, Happy Diwali, what do you say in response? You can't say Merry Christmas back, because this is approval of an aqidah that the Muslim cannot stand up for. But at the same time, we are not rude people. At the same time, we are not obnoxious, and we genuinely want them to be guided and to have a nice life and to be happy in the dunya and the akhirah. Just because they're non-Muslim doesn't mean we want them to go to the hellfire. So what do we say in return? This is the tahniya that the ulama, the fiqh, the madhab al-fiqh, and the statement of Imam Ahmad that we've just quoted here, which is mubah, which is you can now say, have a happy holiday. Have, I don't know, something similar which is not related to you approving of the festivals of the kuffar. So now here, this is very important for us to understand in a fiqh view. As Ibn al-Qayyim said, that there is no difference of opinion, but unfortunately, these different scholars have understood it in one particular way. We don't want to be harsh towards them, because that's going to be counterproductive. That's not benefited Muslims for a very long time, unfortunately, even though this is the way of the Salaf. We're not trying to eradicate this from Orthodox Islam, but as the ulama have said, harshness has its place and gentleness has its place. Ibn Baz says that we are now in an era of showing gentleness and using hikmah. So discuss with them in a good way, show them that this is not the full context, this is not what is meant. And Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah has not got it wrong. His teacher Ibn Taymiyyah, which is a book that we're going through on the Friday sessions, Iqtida Sirat al-Mustaqim, brings narration after narration with companion after companion, and this is the understanding of the Salaf, and this is what we're going back to the orthodox methodology of Ahlul Sunnah, which is that there is an agreement between the Salaf that you cannot congratulate them in this, you cannot assist them in this, but this doesn't necessarily mean that we are disrespectful towards them. You can choose a tahniya, which is mubah, which is permissible, such as saying, have a nice holiday, have a nice time off, enjoy your week off or your 2 weeks off, something of that nature. All of that, inshallah, is permissible. As for congratulate them for their Eid al-Kuffar, like I said, there's no two views on this. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allows us to come back to His religion with the best of returning. Allahu a'lam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.